So, Transformers.
Left cheek! Left cheek! Left cheek!
This movie is alright, it's fine. As a Transformers fan, I like it a lot, but beyond that, it's kind of just a generic action movie. A decent one, but still generic. But one thing that I do have to give praise is its opening scene, which is actually a very effective opening to a movie. It very efficiently establishes motivations for one of the main characters, and sets up how big of a threat the main villains are. Before I dissect the opening scene, I'll explain what happens in it really quickly. A helicopter that was supposed to have been destroyed during a military operation ends up showing up to a US military base. The pilots inside will not respond, and when pressed to evacuate the vehicle then transforms, revealing itself to be a Decepticon, and it destroys the base. And while doing so, gets its hands on classified US military documents. Boom, now we know what's going on. Let me explain why it's a very effective opening scene. The opening credits of the movie introduce you to one of our main characters, Lennox. He is basically our point of view character for any military scenes. Him and the other main character, Sam, don't really link up until the very end of the movie, where they just happen to be in the same battle. That's really it. But regardless, it's important to establish some sort of motivation. That being, he has a family. So intercutting a helicopter arriving to him losing connection on a video call with his family very clearly indicates that this helicopter, one of the main villains of the movie, is a direct threat to what this character wants and values. The next few shots we get help to build some form of mystery. As soldiers flock to surround the helicopter, reminder, a helicopter that should not be at this base, you get a cut to the helicopter pilot, who looks emotionless and unfeeling, building confusion and intrigue at what is going on here. To further build confusion, you then get another shot of the pilot where his face glitches, showing that he's some form of hologram. This continues to make the audience ask the question, what is this thing? Because we now clearly know it is not human. Then, as the music dies down, the helicopter's propellers begin to transform. One thing actually about this transformation is that it is intentionally made a little slow. At first, all that moves is the propellers, and it stays still for a moment. Then you see very few parts of the vehicle begin to transform, until basically all at once, it just starts to unfold and rearrange itself, all super quickly. And despite this being the first time we see a transformation, or even a transformer in this movie, it's purposefully in the background. The foreground is covered by soldiers opening fire on it. You can't really tell what's necessarily happening. It helps to emphasize to the audience that, just like the characters in the movie, you don't know what's going on, and this is actually something the entire sequence does. You rarely get a full glimpse of the Transformer. It's very hard to fully make out what its proportions are, what its face looks like, how big it is, because it's so often either far in the background or covered by smoke, debris, and explosions. This is not an accident. It is specifically done like this to make the entire sequence feel confusing and scary and freaky and unknown. These soldiers are dealing with an extraterrestrial threat they didn't even know existed. They don't know what's going on, and neither does the audience. The next thing this sequence shows is just how much of a threat Blackout is. That's the name of the Transformer. It's easier to just call him that than to keep saying the Transformer. The way it's accomplished is by constantly having massive wide shots, where you can only see Blackout in the far background, but the explosions and shockwaves he's causing are so huge that they wipe out entire crowds of soldiers in a split second. The final thing this intro needs to establish is a why. Why is this happening? And it's done in a very clever way. Blackout goes to a certain building in the military base and begins to rip out a piece of equipment. We don't know what this piece of equipment is. It has not shown up or been established to us. What we do know is that the head general of this base is freaking out over it, and it's trying to destroy stuff. There is then a very quick shot shown where on a computer screen you see flashes of very clearly secret documents. Boom. Now we know what it's after. It's after some sort of classified secret documents that are stored on this machine it's stealing, and the general is trying to destroy it. The scene then ends when Blackout, now having the data, escapes the base, but not without destroying it completely, fully establishing how much of a threat these guys are. And there you go. The opening scene is over. Having shown how big of a threat the bad guys of the film are, and showing that they now have secret government, you now have the proper introduction to continue with the rest of the story of this film, and understand later plot points. From an editing perspective, though, the most important bits are those few insert shots I talked about. Specifically the one of Lennox's call being interrupted, the shot of the pilot's face becoming distorted, and the shot of the computer showcasing that these are indeed classified files. All of these help to very quickly and efficiently set up certain ideas, whether that be a character's motivation, mystery into what's going on, or explanation at why what's happening is happening. And that's why I think the opening to Transformers, while it's the opening to a very flawed film, is a genuinely good opening.